spider? I hate living alone for this reason and this reason only, that I have to kill the bugs. Well, hello, my name is Amanda. Welcome to my channel. I'm glad you're here. Today I am here with my October wrap-up. I read a total of, I think, 11 books, and I had 2 DNFs as well, which I will also talk about. I was really looking forward to my October TBR basically the entire year. I've tweaked it a little. I will say I did go a little hard on the spooky at the beginning of the month and then kind of got burnt out on it, so I had to jump in with some romance. First up, I listened to the audiobook of Coraline, which is of course by Neil Gaiman. I think the book was definitely more creepy than the movie, and there were a lot of things that were changed. I gave it 5 stars. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did, but the audiobook was amazing. It was like the perfect length for me to listen to, like, while I was driving back to my house from my parents' house. Neil Gaiman narrates it so good. His voice is amazing, and I want him to narrate my life. But like the only part that like really kind of like creeped me out was there's a part where like the rats of like the upstairs neighbor are like singing this song, and like the voice that they did on the audiobook was so creepy. I did not enjoy that part. So next up, I read A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Caballero, which is the first book in the Sherlock Holmes series, which is based on Sherlock Holmes. It's basically like a retelling where Sherlock Holmes' great something granddaughter and John Watson's great something grandson are in modern day. They end up at the same boarding school. There's a mystery. It was a really fun time. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. It was really good. Very much enjoyed it. So my first DNF was Slewfoot by Brom. I read a whole 2 pages of this book, and I don't think it was a bad book. It was just way too creepy for me. I decided to start reading this one night before bed. Mistake. The way that this was written, I don't even think I made it to the first chapter. I read like the prologue or whatever, and I was like, no way am I finishing them. But yeah, I have a very low tolerance for spooky stuff, and I thought this was just gonna be about witches, but there's like a demon thing in it that was, I don't even want to talk about it, but like look at that. That's freaky. Why did I think that this was gonna be something I could read? Anyway, it just wasn't for me. I don't think it was gonna be a bad book. I just prefer to sleep than read this book. So that was my first DNF. My next book was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I loved this book so much. I absolutely tore through this. I loved how it was written, like the transcripts of the interviews, and then her like case notes and all of that. And then there were like maps, and oh, it was such a good time. I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So good. I'm so excited to read the other 2. I am obsessed with Ravi. I think this is definitely one of my top books of 2022. I almost said 2020. That was a while ago. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. We did not get far into the month before I had my second DNF, and that was A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. Yes, this is the Owl Crate edition, and it is like the most stunning thing, and I'm really mad about it that I didn't like this. Like everything about it is just stunning. I did read quite a bit more of this than I did of Slewfoot, but I think this is the first ever dark academia that I've ever read, and I just don't quite know that it is the like trope genre situation for me. I don't like, one of the characters was like 17 and it was like she's a Pulitzer winning prize author, and I was like, no, you're not. I mean, at 17, I just don't believe it. This was also a little creepy. There was some witchy stuff going on that, I don't know, they were talking about a Ouija board, and I don't mess with Ouija boards. But the thing that got me was like the character that was the Pulitzer winning prize author. It described her as wearing a seersucker suit, and I don't know why that was the thing that got me, but I was like, no, absolutely not, get me out of here. So I was like, I'm just gonna stop reading it. And I'm really disappointed because this is beautiful, but someone else will love it more than me. So next I reread Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. I read this on Kindle, but I also own the physical copy because this is one of my favorite books. I love this book. I gave this book 5 stars. I've read this like 3 times, and every time I've given it 5 stars. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I love Teddy Prescott. The whole situation so good. I recently recommended this to a friend, who doesn't read a super ton, and she read it while we went on a little beach trip, and she was obsessed with it, and she like flew through it. So this is a really good book. Recommend. 10 out of 10. Next, I finished The Kiss of Deception. I thought The Kiss of Deception was a little bit slow. Pacing was off. It took them a long time. There was a lot of like journeying. It was a little difficult to get through. It's very classic YA. I don't mean that in a bad way, because like y'all know I love YA fantasy, but it's like it was written in like 2014 or something, and like you can kind of tell of like it's very similar to other things that were written around that time. There's a very heavy love triangle, and like I can tell you exactly who she's gonna end up with, even though I'm on the second book, and if she doesn't end up with him, I'm actually gonna be mad about it. But I gave that book 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is Pride and Premeditation by Tirzah Price. This book was so good. Was this like stunning literature? No, but was it a fun time? Absolutely. I had the best time reading this. She made the worst characters part of the problem in this book, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I thought it was very cute. It was like a nice little cozy mystery. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was creepy, but not like overly creepy. The entire time I was like, everybody in this book is so creepy. I mean, that's the point. They're creepy and it's weird and gross, and it's a really good book. I'm very excited that I liked this because now I can read her other books. This one got 4 stars instead of 5 because it was very slow to get into. It took me a while to like really get invested in it, but I'm glad I stuck with it, and then I finished it because I really, really enjoyed it. So next up, I went through a few Kindle Unlimited romances. Spoiler alert, I didn't like any of them. The first that I read was The Billionaire's Baby by Nadia Lee. I gave this 2 stars. It wasn't like awful, but it was just like the relationship was so weird. He was like, she wants me to love her? Like, you're married. Yes. I don't know what to tell you, babe. The next book I read was The Deal Breaker by Melissa McClone, I believe. I also gave this 2 stars. I didn't like it. It's like a best friend situation. They've been friends for years and years, but he kind of like starts forgetting about her and like leaving her out of things. Their relationship didn't make any sense to me. Like, I couldn't feel that they liked each other at all, and even as friends. So I was like, we're done. Next, I read The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. This is the sequel to The XX, which I read last October and really enjoyed. I did not like this one as much. I had similar problems with The XX, but I kind of just ignored it because I was having such a fun time reading it. But like, this happened so fast, and then I don't feel like I got to know the characters well and see why they liked each other. They were just kind of liking each other because they were hot and they were there. But I give this 3 stars. It wasn't bad by any means, but it was very quick in the romance. I didn't really feel why they liked each other. Yeah, so this got 3 out of 5 stars. The final book that I read this month was another Kindle book that I read. I read Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I feel like I read a different book than everybody else did because I just didn't like this book. It almost got 1 star because of something that happened at the end, but then she came back from it. There's just so much trauma from like every single character, particularly the 2 main characters. And I was just like, it's too much. The book is like 300 pages, and I'm like, it's too much to be dealing with right now. So I gave Archer's Voice 2 out of 5 stars. I wish I liked it. I'm glad for everybody that does. I'm so glad that you liked it, but it wasn't for me. Alrighty, so those are all the books that I read in October. Overall, I feel like I had a pretty good month. I had 3 5 stars, 2 4 stars, and 2 3 stars, and I'd say that the Kiss Curse is on the lower end of the 3 star, and the Kiss of Deception is on the higher end. I feel like pretty good. I feel like it's like right in the middle. A nice little bell curve, you know? But thank you so much for watching. See you again for another one. Bye!